more information has come out since the trial has ended, and Geronimo Yanez has been found not guilty on all charges. Finally, we see the dash cam video, and we're going to show the video to you now. Just a warning, it is very disturbing, not as graphic as it is disturbing from the vantage point where we're looking, but I want us to watch the video, and I want you to listen closely. Listen closely to Philando Castile informing the officer that he has a weapon and he has the right to carry it. Here, let's take a listen in.
Good. How are you? Good. Reason I put you over, your brake lights are out. So you only have one active brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one. Your third brake light, which is up here on top, and then this one back here is going to be out. You have your license and insurance?
Right here.
I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out.
I'm not pulling it out.
Don't pull it out.
So if you listen closely, it was hard to hear, but if you listen closely, you can hear Philando saying, "Sir, I have to inform you that I have a firearm on me." Now listen. Anyone who wanted to harm a police officer would not make the declaration that I have a firearm on me and not do it in that manner. Let's just start there. It makes sense that if a person wanted to hurt a police officer, he will not say, "Sir, I have a fire. I have to inform you." He's using very precise language based on the law. Matter of fact, we have a picture of his license and his license to carry a pistol. And this is what was on his person. This is what was recovered from his body. At the bottom, you can see state of Minnesota permit to carry a pistol. So anyone who has a permit to carry a pistol understands that if they're stopped by the police and they're carrying their weapon, they have to inform the police officer that they are carrying their weapon. He went through this. Philando Castile went through this 52 other times. And he announced to the police officer that he had a weapon. He said, "Sir, I have to inform you that I have a weapon on me." And then the officer says, "Don't go for it." And you can hear Castile saying, "I'm not reaching for it." But yet and still, this coward who should never have been on the police force in the first place drew his weapon and shot Philando Castile to death. This is not where the story ends. Actually, there's a couple of tweets. I want to pull up the first tweet on your screen from a reporter who got access. Tony Webster got access to some of the documents. And this is the day after Yanez shot Philando Castile. A police officer manager emailed the entire department to say a Ferguson, Missouri cop called to give support. And then you can see the email. He said in the email, "I wanted to let everyone know that an officer from Ferguson PD called and wanted to extend his support." Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Is we need the support from Ferguson Police Department. But that lets you know, that shows you the mindset of brothers in arms. I guess that's what they think of themselves. And then the next shot shows you, the next image shows you Yanez after he has killed Philando Castile, and he still has Castile's bloodied insurance card in his pocket, according to this tweet from Tony Webster. And you can see on his wristband, "Police lives matter." What does that matter? It matters. It shows you the disposition, the mindset that he has going into this. Because as we all know, police lives matter was not a statement in the face of oppression, the oppression of police officers. Police lives matter and blue lives matter only came about as a way of pushing back against Black Lives Matter. It was a way of trying to halt a movement that was speaking out against police violence. And instead, they came up with police lives matter. So as innocuous as it may seem, and as benign as it may seem, it's actually a very direct statement of antipathy towards Black Lives Matter. So this should let you know, between Ferguson reaching out to help them right? And then they're passing it around the department as if, you know, this is definitely something we want to, hey, we're getting love from Ferguson. And this police lives matter business, it shows you the mindset and the culture of policing agencies across the United States of America. And this is why I push back so hard against these ACLU types. And again, I'm a member of the ACLU, but then there's some of us who take it to the next level, right? Those who really, I'm going to stop there because I can't really go down that train of thought. But there's some people that I know and that many of you may be aware of who want to declare that the police officers are not racist. And, okay, no kidding. We can go through and look at every police officer, and no, not every police officer is racist. But what we have is a racist institution. The racism is institutionalized. It's in the culture. It's in their demeanor. It's in what's passed down from the senior officer to the junior officer. It's what's passed down generationally inside of policing agencies, and it creates a culture that in and of itself is systemically racist. And so it doesn't matter if the individual is black, white, Hispanic. It doesn't matter if the individual is racist. What matters is the entire construct, the entire framework, and the entire way of thinking of policing agencies across the country. That's what matters. And that's where you see the grossest examples of systemic racism. So it's completely irrelevant if this officer is in it by himself racist. What you saw in that video is a reaction to the fear of blackness. That's what you saw. And that fear of blackness does not come overnight. It comes through generations of propaganda against the black community enshrined in our policing agencies. Best personified by the wristband that says police lives matter. Yes, police lives matter. They've always mattered. They've always mattered more than the lives of the victims that they killed. There's never been a systemic oppression of police officers. Therefore, there is no need for the Police Lives Matter wristband except to throw off on Black Lives Matter. And this is not where the police officers actually stopped. They went one step further, and they issued a search warrant for the girlfriend of Philando Castile. And they issued for access to Diamond Reynolds. Access, here's a copy of the search warrant. It's a little hard to read, but this is a search warrant to get access to Diamond Reynolds' Facebook page. And they wanted to get access to her Facebook page to see if they could find any acts of criminality. And so now they're looking for a way to destroy the reputation of the woman who broadcasted the death of her boyfriend on Facebook Live, because they knew how damning that video was. And so they did exactly what every policing agency and media outlet does in this event. They try to find damning information on the individual, find a way that they can destroy the reputation of the person who's going to be a witness or the most outspoken person on an issue, and they try to destroy the character of that person. And so in this case, they wanted to get a search warrant to find anything and everything they could on her Facebook page. And then Facebook, thankfully, rejected it. Or Facebook pushed back on it long enough. You could bring it up on the screen. This is a letter from Scott Mueller from the department, and then you have it's to Gavin Korn from Facebook. At the bottom, I'm going to start at the bottom because this is actually a reply to what's at the bottom. On the bottom of this email chain, he said, "Hi, Scott. Our current concern is that we are obligated to respond to your warrant by tomorrow per Minnesota law. If you are willing to extend that period, it should be possible, but we will want to lock that down quickly. We will have a file in motion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have a position on this?" So this is just a minor pushback. And then Scott Mueller actually said that, well, it's going to be likely that we're going to rescind this warrant. And ultimately, that's what they did, because Facebook pushed back on it and would not give them access to it, even though they had a search warrant. And because ultimately, and for Facebook, this is just a matter of their policies, right? Facebook clearly isn't taking a stand on this, but the result is actually what it worked out for the best here, because what the police department wanted to do was to smear Diamond Reynolds in order to protect their officer. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they attempted to do. And thankfully, based on Facebook policies, they could not get access to it, or rather they pushed back enough times to make the department rescind their request for access. It doesn't matter if the individual officer or officers are black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter their race, ethnicity, doesn't matter their religion, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if they're racist. What matters is how they perceive the community that they serve. And how they perceive the community that they serve is based on the culture of that police department. And that culture in that police department is based on years, generations worth of misinformation, information, propaganda, biased statistics, all of it amounting to systemically oppressing, systemic racism. It amounts to systemic racism, and it amounts to a fear of blackness that unfortunately has led to the death of so many African Americans, black Americans. And it has led to the acquittal of so many police officers who are guilty as hell.